following events for us in Istanbul and joins us on the phone. Mehmet Celik, how do you expect the security forces to respond to this latest attack on the Turkish state?
Well, we know that, recently Prime Minister Davutoğlu also announced that there will be new security measures in place, and there will be provincial-specific measures. So Ankara, the fact that it has been hit twice in less than 2 weeks, I'm assuming that there will be very, very increased security measures taken towards such big areas, Istanbul or Ankara or Izmir, due to their vulnerability to these terrorist attacks. In terms of larger operations, I mean, we know that there's recently just in Yüksekova and Nusaybin district, curfews imposed to tackle the terrorist PKK terrorists there. And Nusaybin particularly is important as it has been one of the strongholds of PKK propaganda place. So I think this could be, a retaliation towards these curfews that are imposed. So although we don't know the suspect at the moment, the primary suspect seems to be the PKK. So we should expect larger operations launched against PKK terrorists in the southeastern, but also in the metropolitan areas as well.
Mehmet Celik, just if you will, take us through the form that some of these the escalations by the security forces could take. What kind of action do you think we'll see being carried out?
Well, there will definitely be a rise in the raid against these, so-called terrorist cells in the metropolitan areas, particularly in Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, in addition to the larger security operations that have been launched in the southeastern districts. There might be even laws passed to tackle any sort of propaganda that would trigger these terrorist attacks. So anything from a propaganda point of view all the way to carrying attack, it's not de-linked from each other. So I think there will be an extreme heightened security measures taken against these activities. The vulnerability of these towns is not something small, because Turkey has had an open door policy for Syrian refugees, which has been, in a way exploited by these PKK terrorists, as we saw in the previous Ankara attack. The suspect, the man behind the previous attack, had entered Turkey through Syria, claiming that he was a Syrian refugee. So we can also expect a heightened security measures at the border as well, in terms of receiving the Syrian refugees.
Absolutely. Mehmet Celik, as we know at this stage, it is important to point out that we don't know exactly who is behind this latest attack, but as you rightly say, the last attack was carried out by the PKK. Just expand, if you will, on exactly what can be done to try and protect Turkish citizens from these kind of attacks. As you say, there are millions of refugees here, and Turkey has two large borders with two failing states. What can be done by the security forces to try and protect the citizens of this country?
Well, definitely, the border security is a big issue, but on top of that, the security issue in the metropolitan areas is a larger concern. As how can you investigate every single person in a place like Istanbul or Ankara, where there is a few million people living, and in terms of larger areas, but definitely maybe the rise of holding security officers in large areas, or conducting searches on the suspected individuals. Although this will be difficult, it could be a measure that could be implemented to avoid such attacks. In terms of going deeper in that, I think intelligence needs to play a bigger role to stop these attacks before they happen. As Minister Ala, he said after the Ankara attack, there were pretty much 18 attacks that were prevented. I mean, it's a question to be asked: how many were prevented since the last attack until now? So, the rise of police in metropolitan areas could be one of the issues to tackle. But I mean, I think the intelligence needs to go deeper than that and stop these attacks before they happen, before they actually surface to the public area.
Absolutely. Well, Mehmet Celik, we'll leave it there for now, but thanks again for joining us.